Okay, so, stepping into the world of cryptocurrency and blockchain gaming can sometimes feel like you've wandered into this whole new galaxy. It's like its own rules, its own language. It can be pretty overwhelming, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Which is why we're diving deep today into a project that's aiming to build a smoother pathway between the games we already enjoy, the ones we love, and the exciting possibilities of Web3.
Right.
And this project is called Xai. That's XAI.
Interesting. So, what are we aiming for in this deep dive? What do we want to, find out about Xai?
Yeah, so our goal for you in this deep dive is to really understand what makes Xai tick. We're going to explore the underlying mechanics.
Okay.
And most importantly, why it could be something that you find interesting, especially if you're a gamer, or even if you're just curious about how blockchain technology is expanding beyond its initial financial applications.
Right, beyond just Bitcoin and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So to get a well-rounded picture of Xai, we've gathered information from a variety of sources. We've got articles from CoinMarketCap and Binance Square. Those give us some nice introductory overviews and market insights. Forbes crypto market data is helping us track the numbers like price, market sentiment, that kind of thing. And we even delved into Xai's own publications, to get their vision straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, so getting a full 360 view.
Exactly, a mix of perspectives, and we're here to help you connect the dots. So let's kick things off at the fundamentals. What exactly is Xai?
Okay, so Xai, it marks a significant development.
Yeah.
So it's highlighted by CoinMarketCap as the 43rd project on Binance's Launchpool, right?
Okay.
But what's really interesting about this is its technical foundation. So Xai isn't just another independent blockchain. It's the first network that's built as a layer 3, and this is built on top of Arbitrum, which is itself a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum.
Layer 3 and layer 2 on Ethereum. Okay, that sounds a bit like a multi-story building.
Yeah.
For those who aren't too familiar with this, can we break down this whole layer concept?
Yeah.
What's the benefit of having all these layers?
So think of Ethereum as the base level. That's layer 1.
Okay.
It's incredibly secure, super decentralized, but it can be a bit, like a busy city street during rush hour. It can get congested, it can get expensive.
Right.
So layer 2 solutions like Arbitrum, it's like building elevated highways above that busy street.
Okay.
So they can handle a lot of the traffic, the transactions off of that main Ethereum chain. This makes things much faster and cheaper.
Right.
And they'll periodically report back to Ethereum just to make sure everything's secure.
Right.
So now we have Xai. This is a layer 3. So it's we're building specialized lanes on those elevated highways. And they're optimized for specific types of traffic. So in Xai's case, that's gaming.
Oh, interesting.
So this layered approach, this allows for even further optimization that's tailored to the specific needs of a particular application.
So specialized lanes for gaming. That makes a lot of sense. So Xai is purposely designed, specifically with these blockchain games in mind. So what does that mean for someone who's actually playing these games? What does that look like?
Well, you got it. It's not a general purpose blockchain that just happens to host games. It's an environment that's specifically built for them.
Okay.
And this architecture, this allows Xai to offer some serious advantages for a seamless gaming experience. We're talking about much faster transaction speeds and way lower costs compared to those earlier blockchain iterations. And because it ultimately relies on Ethereum, through Arbitrum, it still benefits from that rock-solid security and reliability.
Yeah. Speed and low costs, those are definitely things gamers can appreciate. No one wants to be, stuck waiting forever for a transaction to go through.
Oh, absolutely.
Or pay these crazy fees just to trade a digital item.
Right.
But our sources also talk about user-friendliness, right? So how does Xai address the fact that a lot of gamers, they aren't necessarily crypto experts?
Yeah, and that's a key point. The complexity of crypto wallets, this has been a huge obstacle for people, just getting into blockchain gaming. So Xai is designed to make it simpler. So the goal is to make buying and selling and trading in-game items just as easy as it is in those, traditional gaming platforms.
Okay.
Without players needing to manage, those complicated crypto wallets or even understand private keys.
So it's kind of trying to hide the crypto mechanics behind the scenes.
Exactly, yeah. For a smoother user experience.
Okay, that makes sense.
And there's also this decentralized aspect to Xai, right? So the CoinMarketCap article noted, anyone can operate a node on this network and earn XAI coins as a reward for helping to maintain it. And these node operators, they get to have a say in the network's future through governance participation. So it really leans into that community-driven model.
Okay, I think we've got a pretty good grasp of what Xai is, how the layering works, all that good stuff. Now let's talk about the XAI coin itself. Like, what's its purpose within this whole ecosystem?
So the XAI coin, it's like the native digital asset of the Xai network. Right?
Yay.
And it has a few key roles. First, it's what you use to pay for transactions within the network. So if you're buying or selling something in a game, a small XAI fee might be tacked on.
Okay.
The second big thing, governance. Holding XAI, this can give you voting power on, how the network evolves.
So it's kind of like the in-game currency, but also this tool for like ownership and decision-making.
Exactly. Spot on. And remember those nodes we talked about? Well, folks who run those are rewarded with XAI too.
Right.
That helps keep the network strong and stable.
Incentives, right.
Incentives, yeah. Always important. Okay, one of the more interesting things I saw in our research is something called the proof of skill protocol.
Oh, yeah?
It sounds really innovative. Can you explain what that is and how it actually works in practice?
This is where it gets like super interesting, especially for anyone who's like put time and effort into gaming.
Yeah.
Right.
So this proof of skill protocol, it's described as this like revolutionary protocol, and it's built right onto the Xai blockchain.
Yeah.
They use Solidity for this. That's a pretty common programming language for making smart contracts.
Okay.
And its main function, it's to basically tokenize your achievements from like traditional games, and they highlight the integration with Steam specifically. Steam, huge platform.
Steam, oh yeah, I know Steam. Huge library of games.
Exactly. So tons of potential there.
Okay, so tokenized gaming achievements. So you're saying those badges I've earned, those accomplishments in my Steam games, those could become something more tangible, more real.
Exactly, yeah. Think of it like this. Proof of skill, it turns your gaming wins into verifiable digital assets, right? They're on the blockchain. We're talking NFTs here, non-fungible tokens. Imagine like unique trading cards that represent specific things you've done in the game. And because they're on the blockchain, there's proof you earned them. This isn't just like showing off. This is about changing how we see and value the time we spend gaming.
So it's not just bragging rights anymore. There's actual value tied to these achievements.
100%. And another big part of proof of skill is the ability to actually earn XAI tokens based on those achievements.
Oh, wow.
Like imagine completing a super hard quest or hitting the top of leaderboard and you get crypto for it, crypto that's actually worth something.
That's a pretty cool concept. Like it really is bridging that gap between, traditional gaming and Web3.
That's the goal. Proof of skill, it's all about creating a wider gaming economy. It connects those massive Web2 games with the whole Web3 world through this Xai blockchain. And the potential scale here.
Huge.
Right? Xai points out that Steam has like 100 million active users every month.
Yeah, that's massive. So how does that work? How do they actually tie into Steam?
So they have this platform, Xai Play, and it lets users connect their existing Steam accounts. Behind the scenes, Xai Connect automatically sets up a blockchain wallet for them. It's meant to be super smooth, just a seamless experience.
So a gamer might not even realize they're using a blockchain wallet.
Exactly. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Xai takes care of all the complex stuff in the background.
Okay.
It tracks those achievements on the blockchain and rewards players with XAI based on that. So it's really turning your in-game progress into these digital assets that you actually own and their long-term vision.
Yeah, what is it?
They want to be the blockchain for gaming. They want to attract both big Web2 developers who are looking to add these new rewards and the Web3 developers who want access to that big audience.
So they're meeting gamers where they already are instead of expecting them to like jump ship to this whole new crypto world.
Right, exactly. Make it easy, make it fun.
So this Xai Play platform, it sounds like the central hub for this whole experience. What exactly does it offer, like feature-wise?
So Xai Play, you could think of it as the main hub for blockchain gaming within the Xai ecosystem. And, as we've mentioned, a key feature is that smooth integration with Steam. Linking your Steam account is super simple.
Okay.
It automatically imports your past achievements and it keeps track of new ones as you earn them.
That's convenient.
Yeah, and it's really designed for ease of use, so you don't need to know anything about crypto beforehand because that wallet's created automatically.
Right.
And it's not all about rewards either.
Okay.
They're building a community there. Global leaderboards, ways for players to connect with each other, and they even have competitions that span their huge library of games. We're talking over 40,000 Steam games.
40,000 games. That's incredible. So they're really tapping into a massive existing player base.
Yep.
Now, I'm curious about the Xai blockchain itself. Like, what are some of its technical advantages that make it a good fit for all the demands of, gaming?
So scalability, that's super important for any platform that wants to support a ton of active users and frequent transactions. And gaming has both of those things, right? Xai is designed to be super scalable. They say it can handle thousands of transactions per second. Wow. That's key for a smooth, lag-free experience. Another great thing is that they offer what they call sponsored transaction fees on Xai Play.
Okay, what's that?
So basically, players and game developers don't have to pay those gas fees that you usually see on other blockchains.
So like no fees at all?
Pretty much, yeah. They're taking care of that cost.
Yeah.
Which makes it much more accessible for everyone.
That's a huge draw.
Right. And they also really emphasize security for those in-game assets that are now on the blockchain. And finally, the Xai blockchain is optimized for Solidity smart contracts, which means that developers who are already familiar with making smart contracts on other blockchains can easily build stuff on Xai, things like proof of skill. So that could lead to a richer ecosystem of games and services.
So it's easy to build on and it's affordable to use.
Sounds promising. So taking all these elements into account, the layer 3 architecture, proof of skill, the platform itself, what really makes Xai stand out in this whole world of blockchain gaming projects? There's so much competition, right?
Yeah, totally. So there are a few key things they're focusing on. First, the sheer volume of games they aim to support.
Okay.
They're looking at the entire Steam library, over 40,000 games. That's way more than what you see from most competitors, who often focus on just a handful of crypto games. Second, the potential for higher quality games is huge. If you make it easy for those big AAA game developers to integrate blockchain features, then you can attract a much wider audience than just, hardcore crypto gamers. And then there's the massive potential for growth. They're leveraging Steam's user base, which is already over 100 million strong. They don't have to build a community from scratch.
That's smart. And finally, their unique technology. Their layer 3 blockchain gives them scalability advantages over, those layer 2 solutions that other gaming blockchains use.
Okay, so lots of advantages there. Now let's talk about how value is created and maintained within the Xai ecosystem. How does the XAI token, how does it gain value and hold on to it?
So their initial approach, the XAI Foundation, they plan to distribute XAI as rewards for all sorts of in-game activities.
Okay.
Hitting milestones, topping leaderboards, competing in tournaments, attending events, things like that. Yeah. This gets people excited and using the token.
Right, incentives.
Exactly. It's all about creating that cycle, right? Oh. So as more players earn and use XAI in the games, and as publishers see that growing user base, they'll be more likely to buy XAI to, sponsor events and integrate it into their games. So that increased demand from publishers, combined with the growing number of players, this should lead to organic growth and ideally an increase in the value of the XAI token. It benefits everyone, the players, the developers, and the token itself.
That makes sense. A healthy, active ecosystem is key for any crypto project. So now let's shift gears a bit and look at recent market activity and any big news around XAI. What did our sources tell us?
So looking at the data, we see that XAI got listed on Binance back in January 2024. It's currently traded in several pairs, including against Bitcoin, USDT, Binance Coin, BNB, and some other stable coins and fiat currencies.
Okay.
As of late March 2025, the live price seems to be hovering around 0.063 USD with a market cap of roughly $70 million USD.
Okay.
There's about 1.11 billion XAI circulating out of a total and maximum supply of 2.5 billion.
And what about the trading volume? Is there much interest?
Oh, yeah. The 24-hour volume is pretty solid, around $58 million USD. That shows there's definite market interest.
Okay, that's good. And what about price fluctuations? Has it been a roller coaster ride?
Like most cryptos, it's had its ups and downs. Binance Square data shows an all-time high of $1.60 back in March 2024.
Okay.
And an all-time low of 0.05674 also in March, but of 2025. So, there's been some volatility.
Yeah, some swings for sure.
And there were actually some pretty bullish predictions floating around online. One source suggested it could reach $10.23 by April 2025.
Wow.
But, I've got to emphasize here, those are just predictions. Lots of risk in this market. Definitely not financial advice.
Absolutely. Always good to remember that. Now, there was some news recently about Elon Musk's AI company, XAI, acquiring that social media platform X, which used to be Twitter.
Right.
Given that the names are so similar, is there any connection we should be aware of?
Yeah, it's natural to wonder about that. So Elon Musk gets involved with both Xai, the AI company, and X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter.
Right.
And yes, Xai did buy X in an all-stock deal. They valued Xai at a whopping $80 billion and X at $33 billion.
Big money involved.
Huge. But it's important to note that they're separate entities, even though, ultimately they have the same owner. This whole thing, an AI company buying a massive social media platform, this could definitely point to some bigger ambitions for Web3 integration, within Musk's vision. But the direct impact on the Xai gaming blockchain, that's still unclear.
Yeah, too early to tell.
Exactly. We shouldn't assume there's going to be immediate synergy, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Okay, so they're separate for now, but interesting to see how it develops. Were there any other noteworthy recent developments or activities that our sources highlighted?
Yeah, we came across a mention of a Trends Talk Summit forum. It seems like it was a place for discussions about industry trends, personal experiences, and future strategies in the Web3 space. So that suggests that Xai is actively participating in these bigger conversations within the sector.
Right.
And there's also info about incentives being offered to players who link their Steam with the Region platform, which is part of Xai.
Okay.
So they're actively trying to encourage those traditional gamers to, try out the Xai ecosystem and see what it's all about.
Okay, so lots going on. Okay, let's wrap things up and bring it all together. What are the key takeaways here for our listeners?
So the main thing is that Xai offers a really interesting and unique approach to connecting traditional gaming with the potential of Web3. It's built as a Layer 3 solution on Arbitrum, specifically designed for blockchain gaming, faster transactions, lower fees, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And their proof of skill protocol, this is a really cool way to actually recognize and reward gaming achievements, those things you've earned on platforms like Steam. It potentially gives them real world value. And the Xai Play platform, it's made to be super user friendly. So you don't have to be a crypto whiz to get started.
That's good.
And with their plans to integrate with Steam, they've got massive potential for growth.
So for you, the listener, the big potential here is that you could actually earn something tangible from your gaming skills without needing to become a crypto expert overnight. And this brings up a really interesting thought. With what Xai is doing, could we be looking at a future where gaming becomes more than just entertainment? Could it become a real path to digital ownership, even a source of income for a lot more people? What would that mean for the gaming industry? What would that mean for the entire digital economy?
Big questions, yeah. It's exciting to think about.
Definitely. So while you're gaming, maybe check out Xai Play, see what it's all about. Think about how your own gaming could fit into this new landscape. Which of the games you're already playing might one day offer you more than just the satisfaction of winning. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.